Okay, in this lesson, we will learn about the Patriot and British advantages and disadvantages during the American Revolution, but also we will learn how we can use our strengths for more success in our own lives based on the lessons from the past. So let's talk about the American Revolution first. What advantages did the British Redcoat Army have? They had the massive navy, the largest, most powerful navy the world had ever seen. They had the experience of fighting on all over the world. They had the command systems in place. They had the training in place. They moved together. They reloaded their guns efficiently. All the things that a trained army does. They had unlimited amounts of supplies. They had seemingly unlimited amount of money. They seemed like a superpower fighting force. But they had some weaknesses. And their overall biggest weakness was they were unmotivated. The common British soldier was not very motivated. The British soldier was fighting because the king told him to fight. They had mercenaries that were fighting just to get paid, and a lot of the common British soldiers were just fighting to just get paid. And of course, you can't risk your life too much if you're just trying to get paid, because then you won't get paid. Communication will be very difficult for them across the ocean from their leadership and government. The Atlantic keeps them from getting the supplies that they need at times, even though they had everything in line. It's tough to get across the Atlantic in a timely manner. They are unfamiliar with the land. We'll have to rely on Native Americans to help them with the land. They are overconfident that they can just show up and win. They have mainly enemies all over the world because of what they had been basically dominating the world for 100 years, and they had few allies around the world. Their leadership was overconfident and unprepared, and had many leadership failures along the way. And because of these weaknesses, what should have been a complete domination by the British in the American Revolution gives the Patriots a chance, an opportunity to take advantage and make their dream of a new nation come true. What advantages do the Americans have? They're fighting for something. They had a purpose. They had a vision. They want to create a new system, a new country that would change the world. So because of that, they are highly, highly motivated. Everyone working together, men, women, children. They know the land perfectly well. It's their homeland. The homeland advantage is a massive advantage. A lot of people don't like the British. So as the Patriots start gaining some momentum towards victory, the French, the Spanish are going to come along and try to help them. They have tremendous leadership. George Washington was an incredible military commander. He could motivate, he could train, he could strategize, he could delegate training and strategy to capable people. They thought outside of the box. They were creative with how they attacked the British. They didn't face the British in situations where the British would have the upper hand. They looked for ways to ambush, to surprise, to surround, to use the high ground. They used these unconventional fighting tactics to their advantage. The Patriots did have some major weaknesses. They did not have basic supplies they needed. Sometimes bullets, sometimes shoes they didn't have, or tents, clothing. Their men were suffering. Their training was weak in the beginning, but it will get stronger as the war will go on. Their new government is weak and unorganized and cannot provide them the money and supplies that they need. And because of this, some soldiers did leave and desert because, it's hard to be motivated to fight even if it's for the best cause if you don't have any food in your belly and you're sleeping outside without proper shelter. So what can we learn from this? The Patriots are going to win because motivation, persistence, and vision trumps all other things. They are just more determined than the British. They stick with it. It will take them, 7 years before they earn their independence, but they will not give up, even in the worst conditions. Even the British were beating their brains in 1776. They just kept going. So those are the top traits if you want to get something done. Just keep going. Get it done. Make your vision a reality. Also, the Patriots will use their strengths. They're going to lean on their strengths, knowing the land, knowing their motivation, thinking outside the box. What are your strengths? What are some strengths that you have? You always want to lean on your strengths, but develop your weaknesses along the way. For example, the Patriots in the beginning will use basically only ambush fighting and high ground advantage fighting. to win some of the early battles around Boston. But by the end, at Yorktown and at Saratoga, after they develop and train themselves into a better conventional fighting force, they will be able to stand up to the British in places where they have advantages, on more flat territory, on more traditional style of fighting. So you always want to lean on your strengths and continue to make your strengths better and better no matter what you're doing, but develop your weaknesses along the way so they can become strengths.